From this lecture, you should gain a better understanding of how to develop a simple story for your video. Look at how protagonist and antagonistic elements work within a story, how conflict comes about, the 3-act play, John Truby's 7 steps to story structure, and why you should use storyboards. The protagonist is the main character of the story. It is from their point of view that we see events unfold throughout the story. In simple form, there is just one protagonist, but there can be duo protagonists, such as in buddy movies, and multiple protagonists, such as in ensemble stories. For our purpose, we will stick to just one protagonist. As a character is created, it is important to find out what they want, what is stopping them from getting there, and what risks they are prepared to take to achieve their goal. Why is this important for a home movie? Well, because no matter what the film is about, the filmmaker has a target audience they want to entertain and inform. So it is important that you retain your audience's attention throughout. And the best way to achieve this is to set up a story. Audiences react to what they are watching, and part of that activity is the way they interact with the images and sounds presented to them. So it is important to grab their attention throughout. They need to be intrigued, making them wonder what is going to happen next, and have they guessed it right from the clues that you have given them. And what most intrigues is conflict. In its most simplistic form, the main character has 4 types of obstacles to face during a story. Inner self, or inner conflict. This is the emotion or psychological barriers the main character puts in his own way. This is fear. What if he or she fails to reach their goal? I'm not good enough to undertake such a journey. I'm not the right person for the job. Outer conflict, or physical bodily conflict, whereby the protagonist is inflicted physically from illness or injured limb that restricts their movements. Other people or creatures. Another person has the same goal as the protagonist and is prepared to reach it before them at any cost. Think of a romantic triangle where 2 friends are chasing after the same girl. Alternatively, it could be a creature trying to compete for the same space. Think of the shark in Jaws. The environment. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, or the end of the world. Can our hero reach safety or stop the world from exploding? Tune in for the next episode. The protagonist of any story has a goal he or she wishes to achieve. Once the journey commences to reach this goal, obstacles get in the way. These are one of 4 antagonistic elements. When presented with an obstacle, the protagonist needs to change course or work around the obstacle until a clear path is once again seen to reach their goal. Again, once they are on their way, the protagonist is blocked by yet another obstacle, and so on until they reach their goal. This can happen many times during a long story, but 3 obstacles would be good in a short story. Think about how most jokes have 3 elements before you get to the punchline. Once the goal is reached, however, another barrier occurs, known as the gap. The gap is the difference between the protagonist's expectations of what they find on reaching the goal and the reality of what is actually there. In its simplest form, a story has a beginning, middle, and end. This is split into 3 acts. Act 1 is the setup where all the characters are introduced. Act 2 is the confrontation where most of the action takes place. Act 3 is where the resolution takes place. The protagonist achieves their goal with consequences, and all the antagonistic elements have been beaten. Unless, of course, there is a twist at the end. Remember the gap. John Truby suggests that stories can have different movements or patterns from one another, including linear, meandering, spiral, branching, and explosive. Truby sees the story structure as containing 7 steps that the protagonist has to go through. First, weakness and needs, what is holding the hero back. Second, desire, what the hero wants. Third, opponents, who or what is going against the hero to stop him or her achieving their goal. 4, plan, how the hero will achieve his or her goals. 5, battle, the conflict between the hero and antagonistic elements. 6, self-revelation, the experience of the battle causes the hero to reflect on who they are, what they are doing, and how it impacts on others. 7, new equilibrium, all desires are gone, balance has been achieved, and normality returns. Storyboards are a great way to visualize how you see the final film looking. The benefits of storyboarding also helps you share your ideas with other people involved in the filming. It is always useful to edit the storyboard panels to a voice track to see if the sequences work or not.
I could have been a contender.
And can help the editor see where each shot has to go in the finished piece.
I could have had class. I could have been a contender.
Storyboarding is usually used for dramatic production, but can be a useful asset for making documentary type programs to help speed up the process of filming. A storyboard can help you put together a schedule, as you will know how many shots are needed and have a better idea of where you need to shoot them. Without a storyboard, it can be harder to work out what shots you will need, even for a family event such as weddings and birthdays. Also, for sporting events where you need to capture what happens at a game. As an exercise, think through what happens at an event you regularly attend. How would you set the piece up? What are the conflicts? Where does the tension come from? How are things resolved? Then draw a storyboard to tell a sporting event type story. During this lecture, we've looked at who the protagonist is, what the main antagonistic elements are that attempt to stop the protagonist achieving their goals, how a 3-act play works, and John Truby's 7 steps to story structure. We have also looked at how useful storyboarding can be in helping plan a video, whether for documentary or drama. The key things to remember are the importance of working out what the story is that you want to record on video, so that your target audience can have an entertaining experience.